Okay, that's number one.
Sorry, go on.
Just wait. I'll let you know when YouTube is on. Then we'll turn on. I'll turn on the webinar. That's okay. Give me a second here. It's still loading.
It says webinar is now streaming live on YouTube.
Okay, we're live on YouTube.
Good stuff.
Let's see. And you ready to start the webinar, Perry?
I'm ready to go. You're ready to go? JC, good?
Turn on that PowerPoint and share screen if you want.
Oh,
Welcome.
are we going?
We're back. We're live.
Okay.
Doors open.
Fantastic. Oh, look at that. 8 or 9 people already. It's good to see as many people as usual lining up and getting ready to join us for 30 minutes. Welcome, everybody.
Alan, you got the same. Look at that. He's got the Mount Everest picture. Same one we use on our welcome slide. Way to go.
Yes, for some time now, I've been thinking, I need to go there. I need to go there. So I'm leaving it there just to keep me reminding me for the moment.
God, ever since we had that webinar recently from our friends in Nepal, you've just been obsessed with that, climbing that mountain, haven't you? And well, it's great to be able to welcome our speaker this week, JC. Great to see you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Not at all. And we're looking forward to hearing about Talent Basket, virtual exchanges, and those sorts of things today. So great for you to be able to join us, sitting here in KL along with myself. So great to have you here. And Andy, how are things with you today?
I'm doing fine. I'm looking forward to today's program. This is our 28th program, and so we're doing very well. And JC is going to talk to us about the virtual life. So today's poll is going to ask a question about if you want to work online in a virtual world. We'll see what the results will be.
Yes, it's going to be interesting. I mean, so many people have gone, as we know, this year online so quickly, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how well some people adapt to that experience and how other people struggle with it.
Yeah, even for companies.
Sorry, JC, go on.
No, even for companies, when we tell people about virtual internship, and then the companies will be like, what? So are you getting like AI to work for us to intern in our companies? I'm like, oh, no.
Well, I think everybody's looking forward to listening to what you've got to share with us. And don't forget, everybody, as is normal with 30-minute talks, this is an opportunity for you to use the chat function and say hello to everybody. Let us know where you're from. Let us know how you're keeping. And of course, we need to thank our academic partners.
And we've said we've had quite a number of academic partners over the years, and God, it's all actually show 28. Feels like years already, but we've only actually done, I think, isn't it our 28th show is this one? And we've got partners that have now joined us from all sorts of places, and we can see here a bit of the bubble about where our different partners and institutions are coming from. Andy.
Yeah, actually, we have a lot. LPU, Youth UST, our friends in National Kaohsiung University in Taiwan, co-rep. Actually, PATA is one of our recent things, and today we have a new school. And I think last week they were here last week, Mahatma Gandhi University in India. So we're welcome to them. But if so, put your welcome in. Say hello in the chat room. We want everybody to say hello. Tell us where you're from, and put a little comment in the chat room. That'll be great.
That's right, it will be, absolutely. And now let's go to last week's show. Alan, do you want to talk a little bit about last week and how we went through that?
Absolutely. Thank you again, everybody, for sharing your thoughts with us, and again for the overall good ratings for last week's show. Overall ratings are 9.3, 9.2, and as you can see, the audience demographics, primarily the Philippines, is we appreciate our guests from the Philippines every single week, but you can see there the audience is growing in India, and was very, very interesting to see. And as Dr. Andy said, thank you to Mahatma Gandhi University for joining us as an academic partner.
And you can see we had people, most of our attendees are from the Philippines, but last week, that's why we put that chart there. You can see we had a very good attendance from India. So India is going to be joining 30-minute talks.
Yeah, it seems that different institutions, given different term times and different lockdowns happening in different institutions, so it's varied quite a bit. And of course, we also stream on YouTube as well.
the ratings in terms of culture and COVID. So good to see that everybody enjoyed the program. Thank you again.
Yeah, very much so. And it's always great to get the comments from different students and educators from around the academic partners. So we've got a range here, and I'm going to read the first one because it does actually give a little bit of a play up to Dr. Andy here. So from Equiza Zarosela, Manuel Inverga. Well, that's a complicated one you got there. So you have a smile to your eyes and more eyebrows while wearing a mask. Well, this is my favorite line from Dr. Andy Nazarchuk. There you go. I don't think he's going to forget that one. You need to smile with your eyes from LPU in Davao. Another comment we got coming in was, I highly recommend the talk since it provides facts, talks from the world's best experience. The nations felt so simple and useful. So thanks very much. Alan, do you want to go through the other ones?
30 talks or 30-minute talks never ceases to amaze. Every session exhibits the best in the hospitality and tourism sectors, and our thanks from JYC and LPU Manila. And also 30-minute talks always catches my attention to attend the webinars because of their new insights, updates and possible solutions and ideas amongst the pandemic happening around the world. From Baldecanas, ITM LPU Manila. Thank you very much again for your great feedback.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, just so you can see, JC, the sorts of things that comments and feedback that we're getting, and that's because we've, as participants and from our academic partners, like to apply for the certificate of attendance. So, Andy, do you want to run us through how that works again?
Yeah, as always, at the end of the program, we will be sharing our QR code for our survey, post-event survey, and we'll also be sharing the link in the chat room. So stay to the end to make sure you get that. But also be advised that you need to provide a comment and 3 key learnings from today's program when you complete the survey in order to get a certificate. So if you leave those questions blank, or if you just put one word description, no, that doesn't count. You have to put a sentence and tell us what you learned from our wonderful speaker today, from JC Wong, about virtual internships and Talent Basket. That's what we're looking for. So get it done, get it and complete the survey. You'll get a link right after the show. It'll pop up, but make sure you complete the survey in order to be eligible to receive a e-certificate. And as you can tell, all of the schools we provide for all of our academic partners, but we will invite everyone to fill out the survey.
That's right, we do. And this week, before we get going with our show this week, we've got a bit of a poll to do this week. So, Andy, I think you put together the poll this week. So do you want to walk us through some of the questions you came up with for this one, or some of the options for the poll?
Well, when we heard JC Wong was coming, so I figured we got to find out if people really want to work online. So the question is, would you be happy to take a job that would require you to work virtually online full time? So the choices are, no way, I want to work in a real hotel, restaurant, or office with real people. And next question is, if I really need a job, there is nothing else available. Yeah, I would do it. Maybe only if I can work half time online and the other half in the office. Sure, why not? It's going to be hard to find a job under the current economic services conditions. And the last one, of course, I would love to work online so I can work from anywhere in the world. That's the way I feel. I love the work online because I travel. I'm traveling right now, so I'm able to participate in this program, and everyone is doing it. So I see some of the answers coming in, right, Alan? What do you think, Alan?
Yeah, well, it's interesting to see. I'm pretty sure that the bottom 2 are probably going to be the more popular, and that's pretty well the case. I think, of course, I'd love to work online so I can work from anywhere in the world. I think that's probably somebody's dream job, but let's listen to what JC's got to say a little later on. And sure, why not? It's proving to be popular, and maybe, I guess, so the more traditional work routines might be coming from the maybes, but at this point in time, 40% of the people attending today are saying, of course, they'd love to work online. Interesting thoughts.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, what do you answer, Jay? What's your answer, JC? I forgot to ask you.
Well, my answer is pretty obvious. I love working online. It's because I can work with people from different parts of the world and understanding like people with different background and working with people with different mindsets. So that's like the greatest part of working online. Yeah. but a lot of time management and self-management, I would say.
And Perry can end that poll. And
Nicole, I've just done that. Yep, that's right. There we go.
share results.
Then poll. Oh, I think I clicked on it too fast.
Yeah,
Oops.
I'll share those results.
Can you share them? Oh, thanks, Alan.
Yes,
Thank
there
you.
we go. And it looks like the bottom one has been the most popular. Of course, I would love to work online so I can work from anywhere in the world. 40% saying that. And the second most popular, well, in fact, it's equal with maybes. Sure, why not? And maybe. So it's good to see, well, interesting to see that there's a mixed bag with those two answers in the audience. So we'll, as you said, we look forward to seeing JC's presentation, because I think this will tackle that topic head on later today.
That's right, and I think it's going to be very interesting to find out more about that, as I think more people are going to be thinking about working online, because that's, after all, what they're doing. All right, it's come that time to start the show, so we'll just take a break for a quick few seconds while we record that, and then we'll start after that. All right, well, good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, wherever you might be in the world. Welcome to another edition of 30-Minute Talks. I'm your host this week, Professor Perry Hobson from Sunway University here in Malaysia. And joining me today is Dr. Andy Nazarchuk. Hello there, Andy.
Yes, Perry, and if we put our welcome slide, the show slide on, that would be great too. Excellent. Yeah, well,
there it is.
So welcome to 30-Minute Talks. So this is our 28th program. Today's October, what is it today? October 21st. And we have a wonderful speaker today. And that today's speaker actually fits the topic, because our program is an online virtual program. And we have the discussion today is going to be about working and doing internships in a virtual world. So it's very appropriate for our guests today. So Alan?
Yes, thanks, Andy, and welcome, JC. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to everybody from wherever you are. Hope everybody's keeping safe. And as we've already said, looking forward to the presentation, internships in a virtual world.
That's right, and we'll be introducing JC more formally in a moment, and say a few more things about her as we get into our discussion that we're going to have. We're going to be running it this week. But first, we'd like to thank a lot of our academic partners who've been supporting us as we've been growing. So, Andy, do you want to start with some of them?
Yeah, as far as, our latest one, HOSCO, which is a wonderful hospitality network that also provides opportunities for students. Tourism Industry Board Foundation with Tina Aquino, who's the chairman. She's participated in the program, is always a big supporter. We have a lot of students from Davao and from the Joji Iligan International School, but of course, co-rep Silver Mountain from Nepal, the Philippines chapter. We're still waiting to hear from Bob when we're going to do a session for his members, Sunway University, and our favorite supporters, LPU and National Kaohsiung University. That's great. So we look forward to having even more. And we do have a new academic partner today, and it's the Mahatma Gandhi University in Kottayam, Kerala. So that's India. And so they were actually here last week. So they had a large number of students that participated, and I think they all got their e-certificates. I hope so. And so welcome to our friend Tony from the school, and we look forward to their participation in future 30-minute talks.
Yes, we do, absolutely, and a big shout out to them. So to start off this week, we're going to have our regular section on 90 seconds. And this week, I'd like to introduce Dr. Andy, who's put together our 90 seconds. And so here he comes.
Welcome to 90 Seconds. I'm Dr. Andy Nazarchuk, and today we are going to discuss how important focus is when seeking to reach your goals. Let's start with a quote from one of my favorite philosophers, Epictetus. He said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." What should you focus on? There are things that matter and things that you can control. Things that matter: living up to your values, knowing which relationships are important, understanding your faith, knowing yourself. Secondly, there are things that you can control: how hard you work, how you treat others, how well you take care of yourself, and the quality of your communication skills. As you can see in the diagram, there is an overlap. Let me give you an example. Have you heard the story of William Tell, he offended some high-ranking official who then forced him to shoot an arrow at an apple that was placed on the top of his son's head. Of course, the outcome is to hit the target, but that is beyond his control. The boy could move. A gust of wind could change the course of the arrow. Anything could happen to alter the path. What was put in his control were the years of practice that he put in at being the best, knowing where to aim and having the self-confidence to do it. As you start to focus on your goals, keep this in mind. When bad things happen, you need to accept it and keep moving forward and change the process to reduce it from happening again. I leave you with another quote from Epictetus. Seek not for events to happen as you wish, but rather wish for events to happen as they do, and your life will go smoothly. I'm Dr. Andy Nazarchuk. Thank you for watching 90 Seconds.
Well, there was a very thoughtful one for this week. Thank you, Dr. Andy, for that. I think it's a very deep one you've given us this week, I think.
I'm into the Greek philosophers. I'll be doing some more of those in the future. Seneca and Marcus Aurelius are a couple of my favorites, and they always have some great stuff to say.
All right. Well, we're going to be looking forward to them coming up in future weeks then. So thanks again very much for that. All right, well, moving on today, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest for today, JC Wong. And I've had the pleasure of knowing JC for many years, and JC studied hospitality and was probably one of the first students I came across when I started working at Taylor's University here in KL in Malaysia. So JC, let me take you back a little bit in time. Great to welcome you on the show. Tell me a little bit, perhaps give us a little bit of background to yourself and what made you start studying hotel management in the first place?
I think for me, when I started studying hospitality and tourism, it's basically like I attended this career fair by Taylor's University, and then after that, they would be like, "Oh, do you like to talk to people or meet new people?" I'm like, "Yeah, I like it. They asked me to choose between mass comm and hospitality and tourism, and I was like, okay, I'll go for tourism because it sounds interesting. I like traveling. I like meeting new people. So that's how I joined the program, and then it has been life-changing ever since. Like I got really active, and then I got into PATA student chapter for Malaysia Taylor's University, and then organizing a lot of different events, and then got invited by PATA HQ to be one of the interns. So
yeah, so you went to live in you went up to Bangkok and you lived there doing your internship, right?
Yes, I have been there for 5 years.
Wow. So you did your internship with them and then you went back. They liked you so much they offered you a job. Is that right?
That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say 5 years a long internship otherwise.
5 years of internship, eh? But I think I was there for like 6 or 7 months internship. And after that, they offered me a job, which was working for the communications and marketing department.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been, ever since then, I was exposed to organizing like international conferences in different parts of the world, and then attending events and also managing the members, PATA members and stuff like that. And then at the second half of my 5 years, I was the YTP ambassador, which is more focusing on empowering young tourism professionals, tourism and hospitality professionals on how to get better involved in the industry. I think that's how I sort of discovered my passion from throughout my journey, that I would really like to empower these young professionals in like helping them to find ways to get more involved in the industry in general.
Interesting. So as you were working there at PATA, and so that brought you in touch with a lot of people. And as you said, you've obviously you joined hospitality and tourism because you were keen to be involved, very much people to people. And, you know, today we're going to be talking very much about the whole virtual space. So I'm kind of interested how you ended up making that transition from one to the other. And, you know, even in my working life as an academic, I joined the hospitality industry, got into education very much by accident, but part of that was because I like being around students, I like teaching, etc. And then later in life, finding myself working at home when I was working for the ICE accreditation body. So either I was at home or on the road, there was no sort of in between. And that's quite a change for some people. So because when you were in the PATA office, I'm assuming you were very much involved with different people in an office, and now you're pretty much working from home, right?
I would say there's a little bit of difference where my colleagues are based in different parts of the world now. Last time, my colleagues are basically like it's just beside me or the other room aside. But still, like knowing PATA is international, right? So there are members in different parts of the world. So technically, I would still need to have calls, like virtual calls or video calls to stay in touch with these international stakeholders. So the only difference is basically like now my colleagues are not beside me, but I'm still doing a lot of virtual calls, and having like digital and technology actually help a lot in making things work. But of course, definitely we need to, in terms of communication, we need to be more flat structure, whereas there's not a lot of guessing. If you need something, you really actually say it instead of guessing and stuff like that. Yeah, I think it has been a change, but I would say when I'm working at home, I have more time to focus on the tasks that I have to do. So I think it gives me more focus.
So it sounds to me like it's been a little bit of a journey, because as you were saying, you ended up working in an office, but dealing with people all around the world. So now the difference is you just don't go to the office to deal with the people all around the world. You can just stay at home to do that. And I mean, not all hospitality jobs fall into this, but it's quite interesting because, again, I went through a fairly similar sort of experience. Doing that, I was working with institutions all around the world doing accreditation work. So it was quite different. On a daily basis, I deal with people, in 12 different time zones, as I'm sure you're dealing with as well. And it's quite a different type of work that you get involved with. But now you're working with Talent Basket and virtual internships. And obviously this year has been quite a dramatic year for the hospitality and tourism industries. And a lot of students I know had planned to have internships, to be working in the industry, and a lot of those plans have, sadly, come to a screeching halt. And obviously, lots of students are now trying to think about other ways that they can use this time when much of the hospitality industry is in hibernation, about how they can get experience, how they can still, connect, form networks, just like you were talking about. And obviously, those networks are very important and part of your career journey in terms of what you've been able to do. So perhaps you can tell us a little bit about Talent Basket and how either, a little bit about the company and how you found it out, or what Talent Basket's really about, and what sort of, challenges or issues that they saw that they were trying to solve as an organization.
Great. Funny enough, I have a slide ready for it.
Oh, that's convenient.
So I think at the beginning when we started creating Talent Basket, right? We never knew it will be like a full-time kind of internship. We started off as thinking, it can be like a platform for students to learn on a part-time basis during their studies. But due to this pandemic, most of the students are using it as a full-time internship. But anyways, going back to the introduction, right? So Talent Basket, we have this TB dream, is basically shaping our future by incubating a sustainable future for the global industry by enabling and optimizing practical learning experiences. So as I was mentioned before, I think the reason why me and the founder of this company, we joint venture to, we collaborated to create this, is because we realized there's shortfall in terms of students gaining practical experiences, because even though they have like internships, which is like 6 months internship, 3 months internship, but it's not enough. Whereas like a lot of companies actually requested them for like minimum 1 year experiences in order to be eligible to apply for a certain job. So that's why we created this platform that allows students to gain working experiences online during their spare time during their studies. That's also like because of those problems that we talk about, whereas like students, the minimum requirements doesn't fit the company's criteria, and also we also have been hearing like some of the students that it has been difficult for them to look for or even apply for a certain job, to start applying for a certain job that they would like to, because when they study in hospitality or tourism, they don't actually know what are the specific jobs that they are interested in. Because even under tourism and hospitality, there are like housekeeping, there's front desk, operations, sales, digital marketing. There are a lot of different roles like this. So all of these different factors that actually created or contributed to this 50 to 60% unemployment rate among fresh grads. So when I say fresh grads, it means students graduated from the day they graduated to 6 months to a year. While being, that's the definition of fresh grad. So this is actually the problem that we are trying to solve. Is basically allowing students to discover what are their what are the job opportunities that they are interested in, and then also to gain enough practical experiences so they can fulfill the difficult criteria by the employers. So these are the main challenges.
Yeah, because often when students do an internship, and I remember when I did mine, in fact, at my university, when I was studying in the UK doing my undergraduate degree, we had 1 year, and I was fortunate. I actually had 2 different internships. Often internships are only 3 months or 6 months, and you may only work for one organisation in one specific location. So again, you don't get a very good overview of what else is out there apart from that one organisation. And I think that can, again, be a bit limiting on your horizons if you don't know what else is out there and you know, in terms of different companies and in terms of different issues, in terms of different operations. And, you know, as we live in such a globalized world, notwithstanding the current challenges of the COVID pandemic. So where does Talent Basket, you know, what type of countries, because obviously you could be borderless, unlike many hospitality and tourism operations, which are clearly very located in a particular destination or resort.
Mm-hmm. So let me just share it real quick. Okay, hold on. Yes, let me just share it real quick. So for Talent Basket, right? So these are, you can see like the blue circles are basically like where our network covers, and the red circles that you can see, we have 4 red circles. Those are our so-called Talent Basket offices that helps to process some administration. So actually, like Talent Basket, we have been in the virtual workspace ever since like 8 to 10 years ago, where we started off. My boss started off this work by I would say like an ad agency or marketing agency that helps companies to do marketing, to execute marketing campaigns. But because he and I has this certain passion about empowering young talents, so ever since like last year, we started talking about creating this platform that actually leverage on this virtual workspace that allows students to work virtually on our existing marketing, on our existing projects. So that's why we created a platform for it.
Great. But, and so at the moment, how many students and you know, would you have involved? Because you've got, I think you work with companies, and then given your structure, you've got talents within there that work with Talent Basket and the companies. So about how old? Okay, you got it already there. There we go. So tell us a bit more about that, JC.
So as of now, our platform, we have about 950 talents on our platform. We as of now, ever since we officially launched it in April this year, we actually already published and matched 115 roles with 115 students with 39 companies. So all of these companies actually understand that we are working with interns, but they have this one big challenge where they don't know how to manage interns, and also they don't really have time to manage interns. So that's why with our internal structure, and also our training structure, we actually help this company to better match them with talents and also help them to train talents. That's why they join us. So they are very well aware that they're dealing with interns. And of course, we have 19 talent captains who are the sort of act as a project lead to lead these different internships to ensure like the students are happy, are okay, and help them to solve challenges that they are facing. So these are so far like our network. And of course, great news is that we have like 5 of our talents who graduated from our program, and most of them we actually absorb it to be part of our management team. So you can see like they just don't stop as a talent, they grow with Talent Basket as well.
Oh, well, that's great as well that they've been able to. So students can progress to do their internship, and then they can progress up through the roles as well. So because often that doesn't happen. I mean, your situation was possibly a bit unusual. We went to work for Pata, then you were able to stay on with them and grow with them over several years. Not necessarily do all internships do that. And as you said, one of the biggest challenges is finding organizations who have got experience in managing interns to do that. Now, I think you mentioned you had a video from one of your Talent Basket interns, is that right? Perhaps to give us a bit of
Yes.
their view of the experience that they had with Talent Basket and their internship.
Yes, because of course I can't be the only one talking. So
Of course not.
So I actually have this video, this video actually compiled by our talents about what are their views in terms of explaining the Talent Basket network.
Great, let's hear from them.
Growth,
collaborative,
nurturing,
globalized,
adaptable,
mobility,
innovative,
socialized,
creativity,
diverse,
opportunity,
responsibility, teamwork,
passionate,
enlightening,
supportive.
Yeah, so basically this is what a compilation of what they said based on their experiences with Talent Basket.
Well, great. Well, it's good to hear. I mean, that's some interesting words there. How would you, I mean, tell me a little bit about why the internship that Talent Basket's doing is quite different to traditional internships, because typically students get a particular position in a particular hotel, or could be restaurant, could be airline, could be destination marketing, whatever it might be. So how has talent, I mean, given that you're taking this as virtual, and clearly the students as such don't have to go to a particular workplace, so they can presumably do all this from home at this point in time. So how do they get their experience? How's the process in terms of, and what do you feel makes this process so different and enriching for those students to get those positive responses like that?
Yeah, so in terms, I'm glad you asked that question, because a lot of times when we say, oh, we are doing internship, and then they'll be like, oh, but there are other platforms that offer internships as well. But of course, the main differences basically is this sums up to these 3 points, where the first one, where online internships, where students can do it like anytime, anywhere, based out of their home or wherever, as long as they have their laptop and also Wi-Fi, make sure Wi-Fi is running. And of course, like they can gain global experiences. So they can be working based out of Philippines or based out of India, working with companies in Europe, working with companies in the US to gain experiences working with them. So that's definitely one of the best point that we're talking about. and of course, optimized learning. We have training programs to improve internship experiences. And also we assign talent captains to support and optimize their learning curve, because often enough, students sometimes, it really depends on their luck, whether they get a good supervisor that can train them for their internships. So we try to avoid the risk of relying too much on the luck. That's why we have this internal structure where we offer talent captains to help support these students. And then multiple projects, so on a part-time basis, which is during their studies. But because of the pandemic, a lot of students using it full-time. So basically, like, each of our project is about, students are only required like 10 to 15 hours per week. So if they are interested to try out different projects to explore their preferred career path, they can try like 2 projects at the same time. So for example, if a student is interested in digital marketing or research, they are sort of contemplating, so they can join both and explore both, and then they can further justify whether what they actually like or dislike about their so-called dream job, because you'll never know what is the kind of your actual dream job until you actually try it. So these are the few of our these are the few of our available projects that we have.
Mm-hmm. All right, tell us some more about some of those different projects and so forth, because clearly, what sort of companies? I mean, obviously, presumably these are more into the marketing type of area, is that right? And in terms of what sort of projects, so perhaps you can tell us a little bit about some of the projects that you pick up as a company, and how does Talent Basket also find those companies to work with? I mean, as you said, often a lot of companies don't know how to go about getting interns or even thinking about interns. And some companies can often be quite reluctant to have interns as well, dare I say. Others are very welcoming. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, if I can put it that way. So how do you identify those companies? And can you give us some examples, some of the projects that students and interns have been working on?
Yeah, so some of it, so basically these are existing, say there are a few different types of companies that are actually interested to join our platform. The first one is basically they don't know how to manage the interns, so that's why they come to us. But of course, also another type of companies that they are looking to expand their company business, but they are looking for remote representatives.
Okay.
So especially for companies like you have the first one, which is Red Rock Initiative. They are a Rwanda-based community tourism and cultural conversation organization. So they are looking for digital marketing intern that's based out of like different parts of the world. And also when we talk about marketing, it's about language barrier too, right? For example, if they would like to promote their company business in a certain country, but they don't know what are the local language and they don't know what are the local behaviors of the local market. So they will come to us and then look for these students from that particular country to actually help with this marketing. So we have these 2 different type of companies that actually approach us. So these are the example project that we have available as of now. So you can see mostly is working on digital content, digital marketing and stuff like that. And also you can see lead generation. So for some of the students that don't know what is lead generation is basically researching and looking for potential clients. So a lot of companies are actually coming to us to look for these 2 different roles. So you can see we work with Premier Destinations. It's a luxury tour operator that's based out of Maldives, doing like inbound tourism. And then you have a technology company, and then one of our largest clients, Guam Visitors Bureau. We are also working with Tourism Fiji and also Papua New Guinea Tourism Board to do like market research. So there's a lot of different tourism and hospitality related. A lot of students might be stressing out because of the pandemic that nothing is working, but there are companies reaching out to us looking for interns as an alternative solution during this pandemic. in order to still keep marketing going, because even though with the pandemic, they still need to continue marketing and research because they still need to maintain the awareness. So I would always tell students, like, marketing is a transferable skills that they can learn and apply to any industry. So that's also something that we are looking at in terms of the opportunities that we offer in the platform.
Yeah, because again, you know, the pandemic has brought a lot of changes to what's happening in marketing, and you know, the ways that this is now changing. I was just reading about live streaming in China the other day, and you know, this is the COVID has spawned a whole new industry in terms of how people are now marketing products directly, if you like, into people's homes. Which was really not such a big thing at all 6 months ago. And so clearly, you know, that's changing. People are concerned about travel, whether they should go, and finding that latest up-to-date information about whether people are willing to even research, let alone book travel to different destinations, is clearly going to be very important too. Mm-hmm. So that's really fascinating to find out that you're picking up companies, destinations like that, who are looking for interns. Because again, as I think you mentioned, you know, a lot of students probably thinking there's nothing much out there at the moment. And it's great to hear that there are destinations, organizations, I can see restaurants, etc. there who are looking to be innovative about how to deal with the current circumstances we're in, rather than just throwing their hands up and assuming nothing can be done about it. So when you mentioned there about lead generation, so how do you identify these companies? Do they tend to come knocking on your door? Are you knocking on their door? How does that, or is it both sort of ways?
Since we're still very new as of now, so we actually have a lead generation team on our own that actually look for this kind of potential. Usually we focus on small to medium enterprises who, of course, definitely not the bigger chains. So we look for small to medium enterprises where they have a minimal budget, but they would like to do something. So usually we'll link them up, and also we focus on social enterprises where like GSTC, which is Global Sustainable Tourism Council, and also like Red Rocks Initiative, sustainability nonprofits, where they have limited budget in terms of marketing, but they would still like to do marketing. So usually we link them up with students to help them to drive marketing campaigns. So we focus more on those, and all, of course, in terms of the DMOs, Destination Management Organizations, those are our existing, as I mentioned before, when we started our business, we do marketing and research campaigns, right? So my boss is, well, GVB is our major client, Guam Visitors Bureau, and then we are quite well connected in the Pacific Islands. Like Tourism Fiji, Papua New Guinea, they are existing clients, just that as of now, during the pandemic, they move all their focus into market and research to define new travel markets, to define like what are like trying to identify new target markets and see what are whether they fit into their likings or criteria or not. So as of now, these are the current movements among DMOs, to be more specific. And in terms of tour operators, luxury tour operators, I would say, because of COVID, it has transformed tourism. So a lot of people are focusing on safety and also distancing. So luxury became one of the first moving market now. Right. So we actually have like tour operators that are focusing on luxury tourism actually reach out to us to look for interns to help them to execute marketing and lead generation projects. So yeah.
That's great. Well, it's really good that you're finding companies reaching out like that. Now, what I'd like to do now is to invite my co-host, Dr. Andy and Alan Banks, see if they'd like to join us, because I know there's a lot of other questions that they'll have, and I can see questions are coming up in our Q&A chat as well from as well. So, Alan, over to you. I don't know if you've got any comments or thought. You've been used to run a very successful hotel school in Perth. You've dealt with students with internships over a couple of decades, dare I say. So over to you. I'll have a look at the questions.
Yeah, well, firstly, JC, thank you very much for a very interesting presentation and for some really good thoughts about, how the industry might tackle this concept of internships through a very difficult time. And I guess as the world changes, it might become that this concept becomes more the norm than what we currently know. But let's see how it works. But first of all, congratulations for an innovative idea, a new way of thinking, and for continuing to support the industry and continuing to support students that are looking for internships. The thing that really interested me most was the fact that we've been saying for some time now on the show that the companies that will emerge from this pandemic the best, I guess, prepared for the new normal will be those companies that don't forget their branding, don't forget their positioning, and don't and certainly start looking at new ways of doing things. And I think that's very much about what you've said. Is that a focus that you've got specifically with the companies and the students that you're looking for, the innovative people that are happy to think outside the box?
Yeah, I think those are mainly the ones who are more open into digital workspace, but also there's this company where they have certain needs, but they don't know how to execute it. That's why they approach us, because we are quite an oldie when it comes to digital workspace. So usually they will approach us because we educate them what is a digital workspace, like how to do online works and stuff like that. But of course, we help them to manage the team as well. But during this process, apart from attracting the existing one, which is already more open-minded about digital workspace, but in the meantime, also educating companies about digital workspace as well, especially to survive during this pandemic where everyone has to work from home, but they have to keep things on the go. So we came in to help out, especially when we know students are having difficulties of looking for internship. So why not we bring them together? So yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. Andy.
Yeah, JC, what kind of skills do students need in order to be successful in an online world? And you just mentioned companies. What kind of challenges do you have with companies who they don't have the online skills either? So tell us about skills. What do students need to start doing in order to be successful?
I would say the main skills. So actually, like our platform, right? We have this profile page. So usually LinkedIn, you will see, experiences will be on the top of your profile, right? But for our profile, our students' profile, the one appearing up there is student skills and also their area of interest. So because we understand that students don't really have a lot of experiences, close to zero experiences. So we focus on their area of interest. Because if they have that passion towards a certain things, they have that eager to learn. So because we offer training already. So as long as we know these students are eager to learn, they put in extra effort for the interview session and prepare themselves. So usually we focus more on soft skills for the students. Because no matter how smart you are, if you don't have the passion, it's very difficult to get things work, right? So soft skills is definitely the tip top. In terms of organizations, I would say it's still pretty good, because probably at the beginning, just getting them to get used to Zoom and Google Hangouts and Google Meet. But that's pretty much it, because it's like we usually have calls, and then the talent captains and talents report their work. So the only technical thing is basically get them to use Google Meet and Zoom, and the fact that they have to understand that these students are based out of different parts of the world. So mutual respect, global mindset is also something that we are looking into educating these companies. It's like, hey, don't have meetings at 4 a.m. in the morning, and then and then please use time zone converters of also software so that you have a better understanding of what your talents' time are. So educating these people on how to deal with students and also interns, global interns, that's also a role that we took up throughout this process. So yeah.
Interesting. Now, look, JC, I've got a number of questions who are coming in here, so I'm just going to throw some of these at you. So one of the first ones was, it says, is there a certain payment for the virtual internship, and how do students apply? So that's one question I've got here for you.
So for students that join our internship, usually it's a non-pay, but we provide trainings, and also we always tell companies that if you like this intern, offer them. So usually, like the companies that we onboarded are they are looking for the long term, where they will hire the talent. If not, as I mentioned before, we have an internal career development plan where talents started off joining different projects. If they perform well, we absorb them into our management team, and then we actually pay them from there. So we have few different two starting point, which is as a talent captain trainee, or our part of our elites to help us execute our marketing plan. And then from there, they can even develop further as like account executive or marketing executive. As I mentioned before, like 5 students graduated from us, even despite the minimal time frame that we launched it this year. We have already like 4 to 5 students working with us, getting paid by us. Yeah, and of course, like they get paid in USD because our company is registered in the US. So yeah. So
that's good.
In terms of payment, we are very transparent about it. So we pay our talent captain like $80 per project per month. So that if they would like to take up more projects, then they just get paid more on a project basis per month. So yeah.
JC, what do the students say after they work on a virtual job or online? What are their comments? Tell us what they feel. How do they feel about it?
They feel it's because like usually for our projects, right? We assign them weekly tasks, and then they have to manage their time on their own. But if they have any questions, they always reach out to talent captains. So they like the structure of having a talent captain where they are similar age kind of thing. So it's like a peer-to-peer kind of thing. So they feel like easier for them to work with a sort of boss or team lead that understand their situation or understand their thoughts and the challenges that they're facing. So they like this kind of structure. And apart from that, usually we ask the talents to present their own works to these companies. So it's usually an experience that they would never experience, because a lot of times it's like they just do the behind the scenes work and then their bosses will present it. But this one is basically like we ask the talents to present themselves, present their own works, and actually deal with clients from different parts of the world. Like we have one project that's on content creation, but it was for a company in Europe. It's for Slovenia, actually. So there's this Slovenia, this nonprofit arm called Good Place that helps to execute sustainable initiative. So basically, the students was helping this company to create content on sustainable practices and research about it. So they like the fact that they can work from anywhere and in the meantime gain international experiences without needing to leave their house.
Thank you. That's great.
I also saw. Sorry, Perry. I was just
go on, Fran.
The question from Tina there. A good question to ask. The success rate for students and the industry to get the work done. So I guess there's 2 components: success rate from a student perspective and success rate from an industry perspective. You want to give us some thoughts about the virtual world and how they work in, and what sort of success rate you're achieving?
The success rate is basically for, so we have this monthly evaluation form that we have, that it's a 3-party evaluation system where we actually get the talents to evaluate the talent captain and also the client and vice versa, each of them evaluating each other. So of course, our success rate is based on the performance evaluation and also the satisfaction of the students. So they are being rated out of there. And then if we find that the ratings are low, we will have one of our coach to actually speak to the talents themselves to evaluate, to do some self-reflection, or also to see what are the challenges that they are facing, to ensure that their journey is smoother, and to actually help understand them better. Yeah, so usually that's the success rate we are looking into. And in terms of industry, right, is basically their renewal rate, and then their willingness to be more involved in terms of training the talents. Because we've seen companies that join our platform from zero knowledge about handling interns to, oh, let's organize training for this, let's organize training for that. It's like they're more pumped up in terms of educating, because they know better on how to deal with them. So that's also like, that's would be my success rate, or the company's success rate in terms of the industry.
Wow. Well, look, I'm very mindful of time, JC, because we try to keep these webinars to a time. But I think you've already answered with one question here, but I think you've already answered it actually, which is an online experience a real experience? So I think I'm going to take that one as answered, actually. I think we've got just probably one last one. We've got here is, how many hours do the students attend the online virtual internships, and what are the requirements to prepare to do one?
So usually one project is about 3 months, but every week we only require the students to do like 10 to 15 hours. So if you're working on a Monday to Friday basis, that's like 2 hours per day. But of course, that's depending how you manage your time. And then, so basically when they create an account on our platform, they can go through the list of opportunities. If they're interested, they click into it. We actually have the list of requirements. And then they can just apply from the page itself. So I would say the requirements are pretty easy. It's basically like to understand the job scope, because we have students that apply for jobs, but without knowing what they have to do. So it's more of advice on asking students to prepare. If you apply for an internship for a company, you have to understand what the company does, what are the products or services of the company, and then also who are their competitors and what does your job involves. So do some research on that to have a better understanding. So in order to be more prepared. But apart from that, it's really like very basic, like Microsoft skills, and then like be able to communicate effectively, and those kind of simple ones. But last advice is basically, I don't know why I have a lot of students doing that. So basically it's like, once they look at the requirements, they just scared off and they wouldn't apply for it. But I'm like, guys, please, those requirements are just our perfect candidate. They put there for the perfect dream candidate. So if you just meet like half, 4 or 5 out of 10 of the points, just apply for it. Don't shoot yourself down. Just apply for it. Let us make the decision whether you are a suitable candidate. Don't judge yourself for it. So yeah.
Good advice. Good advice. Well, thank you so much, JC. And if any students we've got or educators out there are interested in getting hold of you and Talent Basket, what's the best and easiest way to reach out to you? Just look for your website, I take it?
Yes, to look for our website, or I can actually send it into this chat place here.
Okay. Thank you for doing that.
Let me just do it to everybody.
And maybe while you're doing that, JC, Perry, if I can just ask one more question. I think from our academic partners' perspective and the faculty that are joining us today, there's a question around, would you share that information that you collect on a monthly basis in terms of how the students are going, how the projects are going with the educational institutions, so that they can get some feedback on the success rate of students in those internships?
Yeah, sure. I can share that. As in like now?
No, not now.
No.
I guess from an institution perspective, you know, if the institution decides, or the student decides to use your services, the Talent Basket services, and you put them with an employer, something that the institution needs to think about is how they get some feedback about the performance of the student, and indeed what your client or the company might be thinking about their performance. So that we need to marry that up so that the education institutions have also got some feedback in terms of the performance.
Yeah, sure. But just to do a quick brief, right? Usually, like students' ratings in terms of their experiences, it's about 4 out of 5. That will be their experiences. So we have 2 different ways of rating, keep making sure in terms of students' practical experiences are good, right? So we have these weekly timesheets where every week they submit a report of how many hours they contributed that week and what were the tasks they worked on, and then their experiences rating from 1 to 5. So that's on a weekly basis. And then we have this monthly evaluation where every month they have to rate their talent captains, rate the clients, and also rate whether what are the things that we can improve on in terms of our training, and also what do they enjoy about. And then they submit that as well. And then if we receive any comments from the client based on their monthly evaluation, we will try to schedule a call to understand and make sure like they are working well together. So usually that's our process. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much, JC, for sharing that. Thank you so much for joining us on 30-Minute Talks. It's been really enlightening. I think a lot of students are concerned about what their internship opportunities are. A lot of institutions I know are trying to work out what to do with different internships. So thank you again very much for sharing that information. I think it's been quite enlightening to a lot of people about what's available out there. You know, so much of what universities has had to do is now had to go online anyway with our online lectures, etc. So doing this with internships and seeing the number of places, I saw another question in the chat there was about how do I get that virtual internship in the Maldives? Seems to be particularly appealing. But of course, it doesn't matter where in the world the client can be. So these things become increasingly global with those things. So JC, again, thanks very much. Alan, Andy, just over to you quickly. We'll share for next week.
Yeah, JC, thank you. Thank you for joining us, JC. That was very interesting. We're doing our online virtual webinars, so we're used to it. Everybody's better get used to it.
Absolutely. Once again, thank you, JC. And you know, I'd like to think that a lot of the participants that join us every week on 30-Minute Talks, as well as the faculty that join us, are innovative and forward-thinking. So without running a promo for your company, I think they should be getting in touch with you, because what I saw from our poll at the start there, 66% of the students that answered the poll are those forward, innovative people that are looking to maybe work from home, maybe to get into the digital space. So there looks like an opportunity. So thank you very much for your sharing your thoughts and your presentation today.
That's right. Thanks very much. And again, a big thank you to all our academic partners for their support of 30-Minute Talks. So JC, again, thanks so much for joining us. And again, thanks to all our academic partners who support us during this time. Alan, Dr. Andy, over to you for a moment.
Yeah, actually, yeah, we always appreciate our academic partners. And again, if you want a certificate, there's the QR code. So get your cameras out, take a picture of the QR code. Don't forget that you need to put 3 key learnings. And we learned a lot from JC today about virtual internships and online opportunities. So if you have questions about your certificates, that some students there's always a couple that have some issues with certificates, you can email me at 30minutetalks.com. Check the website for the email addresses, but everybody needs to fill out their survey and make sure you put your key learnings in the survey form.
Alan.
And just a final thank you again to Mahatma Gandhi for being our latest academic partner. And once again, everybody, thank you for joining us on 30-Minute Talks, and keep safe, everybody, until next week from myself.
And the topic for next week is somewhere. All right.
Right there on the screen should be.
No, this is the last slide. I think this is the QR code again. I'm going to put the chat in the room. There should be a slide there for you, Dr. Hobson.
No, that's the last one I've got.
Okay, well,
so, yeah, no. So tell us about next week's one.
That's great. I think we have Miss Gabby Waters that's going to be speaking next week. Isn't that correct?
That we do. And Dr. Gabby Waters is a colleague from the University of Queensland, based in Brisbane in Australia. And she's going to be joining us next week to talk about tourism recovery. I work very closely with Gabby on a number of different projects and also on the Journal of Vacation Marketing. And I'm really looking forward to her joining us next week. She's a specialist and has done a considerable amount of work on tourism recovery, particularly destinations. She's done a lot of work over the years with such things as destinations recovering from bushfires in Australia, from floods, those sorts of things. And of course, here we are in a time of COVID. So no bigger thing than trying to recover from. So we look forward to hearing from Dr. Walters next week, and we look forward to welcoming Gabby to 30-Minute Talks. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Again, JC, thank you so much for your time this week to help us learn about virtual internships and telling us some more about Talent Basket. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Perry. Thank you, Andy, and thank you, Alan, for having me. And it has been an interesting session, and I hope to learn more about the industry in the future 30-Minute Talk.
Great. Thanks very much. Thank you, and goodbye from all of us, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Everyone.
Bye.